Good morning and welcome to the latest MAD webinar on how to achieve sales growth in 2024. I am looking forward to hearing what Carlyn has to share with us because I think it's so fundamental for all of our businesses. So let me introduce Carlyn. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Meet the Experts webinar. And I'm going to talk all about achieving sales growth this year. Welcome. I don't want to waste too much time talking about myself, but I think it's important that I have a little bit about me. We only have about 25 minutes. I'm going to do a little quick fire slide for you. My name is Carlyn Wiltshire. I have been in sales for well over 30 years. I started as a technical junior salesperson and then moved all the way up to sales director in a global corporation for a material testing company. I have the t-shirt therefore because I've done all of it, and I absolutely love helping others succeed, which is why I started my business, which is going 10 years this year. I believe that with the right skills, process, and confidence, that sales is fun. The most important thing, though, there is absolutely no need to be pushy in sales ever. And if you feel that the same way, then you're in a good place. So why do we want to grow our sales? It's why you're here, right? It's because either your sales have been very stagnant this year, they've not really moved much. Maybe you're not even hitting your sales targets. But it's possible that you're just here to learn, and that's great because everybody needs to learn. Very important. So if we go into our chat, I like a little bit of interaction with you guys while I'm doing presentations. So if you could write the numbers that relate to you, I mean, are you 1, your sales have been stagnant, 2, you're not hitting sales targets, or 3, you're just here to learn. Let's have a look. Right in now, 1, 2, 3, or all 3, doesn't really matter. Right? Okay, excellent. Fabulous. Okay, so it's a bit of a mix of all, but really wanting to learn is the most ones. So it's really helpful for me because it helps with the way I present if I know why you're here. Okay, so this is the problem. The world of sales changes quite a lot, and over the last 30, 40 years, it has changed dramatically. Okay, and here's some of the things that might be affecting your sales growth right now. The economy. I mean, at the moment, it's a bit questionable what's going on, and I think a lot of people are being very cautious. Buying process has changed a lot. It used to be that people that were in sales were helping understand. Well, now people pretty much know all about you before they even contact you or you contact them. Hybrid meetings has changed relationship building with potential clients. Competition, we don't know what they're doing. Hopefully, it's all good. And technology has gone skyrocketed over the last 20 years, but AI has been a game changer as well. And innovation. So innovation within your industry, that has a major impact on your sales growth. So what I want to do, and this is kind of like objectives of today, I want you guys to imagine yourselves, okay? Now, if you could put some of the stuff in that you've learned today, I'm hoping that you will have a better focus on your sales and you'll be more likely to achieve your sales goals and faster, and hopefully as well be ahead of your competition. So this is basically what I want to do today. So be able to grow your sales in your business. We're going to look at 3 areas, and I'm going to go through sales goals. So something that most businesses don't spend enough time on. And I want to spend a bit of time on some effective techniques and identification of how to set realistic sales goals. Secondly, I want to talk about sales strategies. So, sorry about that. I want to talk about sales strategies. I want to go through some proven strategies and best practices with regards to getting the sales goal right. And thirdly, as we already know, tactics. So I'm going to do couple of wise words, a couple of tips to help you as well. Okay. Then at the end, we'll have a question and answer session, which I always find very interesting. And there will be a few freebies along the way. Now, we're going to send these to everyone who has joined today. But if you are watching the recording, just send us your email and your email address, and we will get them sent over to you. All right, so let's start. Sales goals. So let's define and prioritize your sales goals. Now, a lot of people set sales goals without due consideration. And I want to know if you think your sales goals are kick-ass, meaning amazing. Okay, so put yes or no into the chat box right now. Do you think your sales goals are kick-ass, meaning really you are going to achieve those? You're going to feel really amazing about the goals that you set yourself. And obviously very rewarding if we do it right. Right? We got a no. Got a yes. Anybody else? Cool. All right. So it's a mix. Some people are super confident and some people aren't. Let's go through what your sales goals should look like. First of all, do you have a believable sales goal for 2024? This is the main area in sales where I actually find businesses are not committed to really set a stretched but achievable sales goal for their business. One that they can visualize with getting with effort. And I mean with effort, huge letters, yeah? Most don't make themselves accountable, and therefore loads of perfectly acceptable excuses are found for not hitting said targets. And I went through some of the excuses earlier. The second thing really is, do you have confidence in your target? Did you set it, or maybe it was set for you? That happens a lot if you're a salesperson especially. Or did you set it a sales goal for somebody else, and that means they're not accountable for it? How did you set your goal? How did you come to that number? Did you use a percentage increase, for instance? Did you use historical data to see, well, we did this last year, we'll do it again this year? Or maybe you did it one by one, client by client analysis, and then added your prospects to it. The more accurate your forecast for your business, the better the confidence you're going to have in it, and the more likely you are to plan what you need to do to get there. Okay. And that's really the last thing, really, is did you create a plan to overachieve it? Okay. Can you create a plan of action to increase the probability of success? And how detailed is it? Have you created a plan for overachievement to ensure the unexpected doesn't ruin your progress? I mean, you could lose a client, there could be an unforeseen crisis. So really you need to be planning to overachieve. Okay, so that's what setting good goals is about. Now, maybe you're going to think, maybe I'll change my mind about the slide before. Maybe my sales goal isn't as great as I thought it was. Okay, now by tracking metrics against your goals on the year, you can claim valuable insights into the effectiveness of your sales efforts, and you can then make data-driven decisions to improve your sales process during the year, drive growth during the year, but also use that data for setting sales goals in the next years. So if we look at some of the things that you really should be looking at, one obviously is sales revenue. Now, revenue is one of the most important things for measuring progress against your sales goals. But look at turnover and gross profit only, because sales can't control anything below that on the P&L. So I like to look at, depending on how focused you are on price, either one really works, turnover or gross profit. The second thing really is to look at conversion rates. So how good am I at converting leads? Yeah. What is the percentage of leads that actually become paying customers? Knowing that will have a major impact on the activities that you do. The next thing is source of the leads. Where are my sources coming from? Which sales and marketing activities or efforts are driving my sales growth, i.e., helping me reach my goal? Okay. And the last one really is sales cycle length. A lot of people don't think about this, but it's how long does it take to close an opportunity from getting a lead all the way to close? Close win, close lost. Okay. And this is really important, because if we can shorten the process somehow and close the cycle a little bit, we can then make more sales quicker within that year, which of course our sales goals are usually time constrained. So I'm just going to quickly go through marketing activities, because some of these will have an impact on your sales. Remember, we talked about this, how quickly, and we talked about our sales goals and what we should be measuring. Sometimes we look at activities as well. Some things here you will do and you will do well. And some things you'll do here and you're like, why am I doing them? Okay. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in detail, but how to think about what you are doing at the moment, what impact it's having on your sales. Same with proactive sales activities. Here's some examples. It's not complete. Okay. It's just a few examples of what you could be doing in your business. And again, what impact are these things having on your sales revenue? Okay. Really, really important. And again, I will be talking about this later, so think about it. I mean, emails isn't in there. There's quite a lot of things you can do positively in terms of sales. So with that in mind, here is my first freebie alert. Okay, I have actually created a checklist for my clients. It's a sales planning checklist, and it incorporates pretty much some really good prep activities that you can get on with straight away to look at how you're going to deliver your sales plan and reach your sales goals. So I think it's quite relevant to this particular webinar. So therefore, I thought I'd just check it in there. Okay. And the most important thing is that you use this to help you plan to reach your sales goals. All right. So that's a little freebie for you. Now, let's talk about strategies. Okay. Now you've thought about your sales goals and whether you have a confident sales goal that you created that you can do with effort, not just an easy one. Okay. What strategies are you going to take to optimize growth next year? Okay. And I'm going to go through some ideas to get you thinking about sales strategy. And the first thing, I'm not sure if you've ever heard this one, but it's the red car theory. And I love it because it really does make a point quite well. So the last time you drove somewhere, think about where you were and where you drove to last. How many red cars did you see? Now, you won't know the answer to that, will you? Simply because you weren't looking. But now that I put that thought in your head, how many red cars do you think you're going to see next time you drive somewhere? And every time I do it, I see loads of red cars, And this is the same thing with opportunities. They're out there, but can you see them? And this is the biggest thing that I want you to take home today is seek out opportunities everywhere. Talking to clients, networking in your industry, keep informed, read relevant magazines, internet, social media groups. There's so many places to look within your industry, but be on the lookout, whatever you're doing, for potential opportunities for your business, because they are everywhere. So here's a whole list. Obviously, the first one is quite obvious. Here's some sales growth strategies. Which do you think will work for you? Which ones will give you more confidence in achieving your sales goals? And the first one is be more proactive. Look for opportunities. I just said it, right? And that's everyone in your business, not just you. Everyone can be looking for opportunities. Tell them the red car. I'm looking for red cars. And suddenly they will all be there. Okay. And do more proactive sales activities, the ones that work for you. Scale up or down sales and marketing activities that work for you, the ones we looked at before. Scale them up or down depending on how they're working for you. Try and remove seasonality into your business, because that really plays with sales goals, because you think you're doing well, then you're not doing well. And then it's unless you really, really forecast well for it, seasonality can be a real pain. So you can maybe introduce different products at different locations, different times of year, all sorts of different things that could potentially fill those gaps. The next thing is increasing profits. This makes a hell of a difference, especially if you're measuring against gross profit. So price increases work well. maybe adapting our products a bit, changing them so they're a little bit more profitable, or removing products. Product rationalization is huge in manufacturing, especially to drive profits in business. And then, of course, employ and train good salespeople. I can't say enough how important it is to have good salespeople in your business, people that understand what sales is. If you have a good person who thinks technical, very, very amenable, sociable, then perhaps training will just boost him a little bit as well. You should be training your sales staff every year anyway. It will definitely increase revenue. And if you want to know more, just get in touch with us and we'll get you in contact with me and we can have a chat about it. Next is please build strong relationships with your clients. Okay, you have clients that are lovely, that you love. You want to keep them, but also you might find new opportunities, red cards, with your clients as well. Okay, so I want you to write down right now which one of those hit a nerve now into your wherever you are. Write them down. Say that one I need to be doing more of. Okay, so I'm just going to give you like 10 seconds just to write down exactly what it is you would like to do more of. Okay, excellent. Okay, so last one really is tactics. Now, this is really helpful, and I hope we're going to strengthen your sales goals even more. I'm going to find some really good strategies that we've done, and now here's some tactics to optimize what you're going to do. Okay, so first thing is, and I heard this the other day, get rid of the fluff in your life and everybody else in your business life. Okay, so sales can get quite foggy with lots of fluff about, and I want you to remove the fluff, stuff that you should not be doing. Okay, so first thing is prioritize your time and tasks. So your time is worth a lot, and I'll show you in the next slide how to do that really easily. Secondly, if you're doing sales activities that don't convert and are not delivering, don't do them. And this is why we measure. Just stop doing things that aren't working. If you start measuring that something that you're doing isn't making you any money, why are you doing it? Same thing with marketing activities. Maybe you've always done them and you're like, oh, I want to do it. But if they aren't delivering, stop. Yeah. Or optimize. Think I need to do something about this. I need to do better at this. This isn't working. I optimize or I stop. And the second thing really is to focus. So focus on the stuff that actually works. And I know you know this, but I'm going to say anyway, can you please just work on low-hanging fruit? Low-hanging fruit is a term that we use to describe the obvious or easy things that you can do. And this is sales activities that are going to achieve success with the least amount of effort. So we've got existing clients we could be talking to. I mean, hey, they know you, they love you, they trust you, yeah? Secondly, past clients or maybe leads or one-offs that you did. You did a one-off for somebody. Go ring them and say, hey, have you got anything else? They know you, they know who you are, okay? And also get better referrals from your networking activities. These are all low-hanging fruit. So before you start going off on a mission, cold this, cold that, try to stay in the warm zone to bring in the new business. Okay, so number one way to remove fluff, this is what we were talking about before. Who's heard of the prioritization matrix or the Eisenhower matrix? Yeah, you probably have, because it's so useful to increase your productivity. And I just want to talk to you about it from a sales point of view, because you've probably seen it from an operational point of view. But let's have a look, and I'll give you some examples as we go along. So we've got the important, urgent, do it now. Okay. And these are basically reactive tasks that you must do straight away and drop everything else. Okay, so these are tasks that are clear deadlines and consequences for not doing them. And examples could be to call an inquiry back, to do quotes and tenders, to respond to urgent emails, or basically, let's be honest, to pick up a sick child from school is an urgent task that needs doing straight away. Okay, so that's stuff that you do, and those are reactive. Okay, Now, the problem is the not urgent and the planet, okay, those are your proactive tasks from a sales point of view. And these are tasks without a deadline that bring you closer to your goals. So schedule these for later in the day, but you still have to do them. And it's kind of like strategy and planning long term. A lot of people don't do that. And that's because these things normally go to the bottom of the pile because they're not very important at that particular moment, but they are super important for hitting your sales goals and hitting your sales targets. So examples, follow-up tasks. How many times do we pass that on to the next day? Networking, lead gen, any sales activities that progress sales opportunities but aren't urgent. They just go every time I speak to people, it's the one thing that drops. Okay. Now we know what to do with the not urgent and not important. We're supposed to be, the things that you can do, but they don't need your skill set. So, they're just interruptions and distractions. So try your best to automate these as much as you can or outsource them if that's possible. And that would be like replying to emails, phone calls, uploading blog posts, things like that. That really are important. And of course, the drop-its, these are just not urgent, not important. The distractions, that's all they are. And, like mindless web browsing, social media scrolling, these are all not urgent and not important, okay? Unless they're sales activities. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay, again, freebie alert, okay? I have created a to-do pad specifically for proactive sales for my clients, and I give them to my students every time. But I'm going to give everyone a PDF version of this, so I hope that really helped. The main thing for me here is the 3 things that I need to do today to be super productive. Also, it has tasks and follow-ups. So I hope this makes your proactive sales easier for you. All right. Now, I'm going to just summarize now because we're getting to the end. First, we talked about sales goals. Okay, do you have a believable stretched goal? I'm hoping now that you might think that perhaps you want to revisit and think how you would do that. Secondly, have you put in a strategy for growth, and what is it? And what do you think in terms of this? What would you do? And then, are you being smart about number 1 and number 2? Meaning, are you actually doing it well? Have you taken those tips on board? Remove the fluff. So make sure your sales goals are achievable and believable with effort. All right. Have a great sales plan to help you do that. Use the checklist as a guide. Pick growth strategies that will work in your business, not just ones that people tell you to use because they use them and they work for them. And be tactical with your time, okay? I feel like a mom now. Okay, so please get in touch if you want a free a sales strategy audit for your business. Happy to do that. Anybody in the Mad group would love to do that, okay? So that is it. So your main takeaway today is please have a stretch goals, a good plan, and be proactive. Yeah, thank you. And that's it. So I hope you found that useful. And thank you very much for listening to me all this time. I'm just going to go to the next slide, which is the Q&A slide. So does anyone have any questions for me?
Hiya, Carlyn. Yeah, I've just got one on the sales cycle length, which I thought was quite interesting. So basically, once you've pitched to a client and then sent a quote over to them, when should you get back in contact? Because I always find that you don't want to be too pushy. So what's a week, 2 weeks? How long do you think it should be? Or a day, 2 days?
Well, to be fair, if you're getting an inquiry in, yeah, the sooner the better. The sooner the better. Yeah.
This was after a meeting, so we've done a sales meeting.
Okay, you've had a sales meeting.
When you do a follow-up afterwards?
In my opinion, in the sales meeting, you should have discussed that.
Right, okay.
Every stage of your sales process needs to be finished with the next step. Okay, so every company will have their individual sales process. and some will be long, some will be short. Yeah, you normally have an average sales process time. How long does it take? The sales cycle. And some companies, some manufacturing companies, when they're selling big machinery, for instance, could take years to get the finances in place and everything. But it really depends on your personal sales cycle. But I would have done that work at the meeting. I would have said, right, the next step is whatever that is in your sales cycle. Yeah. And then I will have done that by such and such a time. Is that okay by you? And I will contact you to discuss it in such and such time. Is that okay with you? And if you're really clever, you'd make the date there and then. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you for that tip.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Hi, Carlyn. Got a question for you. I hear a lot of people talk about numbers, about how many times you should follow up on a particular sales lead.
Sure.
And the number of calls and contacts you need to make to actually secure a sale.
Sure.
The figure 7 sits in my mind, but that seems like a lot of contacts to a business. And it sounds a little bit, as Tony was just saying there, sounds as though you're getting a little bit desperate and a little bit pushy, but I'd be interested to know your views.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. And like the first slide was, do not be pushy. I find I get put off by that. And the great thing is, remember, the sales world has changed. Somebody came up with that figure probably like in the 1960s or something, when they didn't have emails, when they didn't have technology, when they didn't have all the stuff that we have now. Now, personally, I would not pursue somebody if they didn't come back to me, probably after a couple of contacts. Now, I would phone them first. Yeah, if it's a follow-up and they're not getting, phone them. And then I'd phone them again, and then I'd email them. And then if they still couldn't be bothered, yeah, in my opinion, my time's way important, and I have a product that people want, yeah, and everyone should feel that way. You have a product that people want. If they're not coming back to you, then I would use what I call my flush email. And it's a Dear John letter. It's like, hey, you reached out to me, we had a good chat, and you wanted this benefit value, yeah. But I totally get if you're really busy and you haven't come back to me, then please come back to me, because I ain't calling you back. I ain't right to you anymore. You're off my Christmas card list or whatever. And then you just send that email, which I call a flush. And then if they come back, it's great. Because my clients, every time I tell them this, they're like, oh my God, that really works. If they're really interested, they'll come back to you and go, no, I'm just really busy. I'm sorry. Yeah. And if they're not interested, they're gone. They're out of your life. They don't have to worry about them, and they're off your list. Cross them off, and then just carry on. Does that help, Rob?
It does, thank you, because that is my policy. So it's nice to have it affirmed by a sales professional that I'm doing the right thing. So thank you for that.
Yeah, too many years in sales to be bothered with people that possibly were interested at the time, but their priorities have changed. Yeah, there's no reason why you can't call them back. That's when I said, this is low-hanging fruit. You might want to reach out to them in 3 months' time, because have your priorities changed? Are you interested again? Yeah. So don't lose them forever, but don't be worried about them don't have them down in your, oh, I've got another 10K coming next month because that person inquired. It's not happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any
thank you.
questions? Well, I actually had a question beforehand that was sent to me, and it was about what should I use as a method to my growth? Should I use percentage? Should I use, should I use historical data? Or should I just make something up because I want it? And that's what I want. And the answer is, it depends on your strategy, and it depends on your goals as a business. Some businesses are wanting to grow because they don't have market share. And so they could potentially look and say, well, we could grow by a percentage, and, and it would be quite achievable, but you'd have to stretch your percentage to where your strategy is. But sometimes your strategy is to maintain, because you've got quite a lot of business, like you might have market share, for instance, and you need to maintain. Account management would be your strategic element, and therefore you're looking at achievable goals differently. But it really does depend on the size of your business and the strategy that you're using, which element you would use to use as a marker for, or mathematical calculation on what growth do I want year on year. I hope that's helpful. Any other questions? I'm just checking the chat. Anything in the chat? Oh,
Thank you, Carlyn, that was brilliant. And yes, definitely very, very helpful and useful. I'm sure all of us have got lots of tips to take away. So thank you very, very much indeed.
you're welcome.